Good morning, Ms. Hassim. Good morning, Ms. Killian. And good morning, General. Yes.
Morning, Commissioners. Morning, General.
Very good morning to you, Commissioner.
We're going to pick up the pace a bit today.
Actually, General, I want to say something. If we continue at the pace that we were proceeding at yesterday, we are sure to run well into the afternoon before we reach page 90 of your statement. If you can try to pick up the pace and perhaps even avoid, if possible, substantiating on some of the points. You are not substantiating on all, but you did do so in quite a few. If you could try to avoid that, and also, if possible, from our side, we will try to avoid asking clarity-seeking questions. We can always do that, even at the stage when you are being engaged more pointedly, because we want to get through your statement. Can you try to do that, say, by tea time, by 11? Try to be done by then?
I will try my best.
Try. Please do,
Chair,
please do, General. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Yesterday we had dealt with the annexure SS29, which is linked to paragraph 183 of your statement. And it's the second contention of the three contentions in the section that you're dealing with. General, do you want to pick it up from paragraph 184?
Paragraph 124, I just also want to get the file ready, the one for the annexes. Take this water away, please. Yeah, I don't want it. My apologies. This paragraph?
184. You had finished at 183 yesterday.
Yes. Commissioners, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to read through as advised, even as discussed with the evidence leader, non-stop, so that at least I get to finish the statement. So, as it is apparent in this document, the Deputy National Commissioner of Crime Detection is a custodian of all case dockets within the South African Police Service. The information not expressly records the operational challenge that arises when case dockets are investigated within other environments over which the Deputy National Commissioner of Crime Detection has no managerial oversight, while still being held accountable for the performance outcome associated with those dockets. It is further confirmed that such dockets are included when detective service performance is measured, thereby reinforcing the necessity for investigative accountability to reside within the crime detection environment. This evidence directly contradicts the National Commissioner's attempt to portray my intervention regarding the dockets as improper or misplaced. The information note confirms that proper investigative command and accountability must reside within the crime detection environment, precisely as I had maintained. His effort to characterize my insistence on adhering to this established governance principle as a point of contention is therefore unfounded and appears crafted to create the false impression of discord or power struggle, when in truth my position aligned squarely with approved policy and performance accountability. Furthermore, I attached hereto a letter dated 9 January 2024, authorized and signed by me in my capacity as Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, addressed to the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence, marked Annexa SS30. This correspondence highlights the poor performance of detective service arising from long outstanding case dockets that remained within the crime intelligence environment, including counterintelligence investigation. Then I marked here with a pen page 484, so I'm not gonna go there, I'm just gonna read through the statement. The letter records that 71 case dockets, 81 charges, were currently retained at National Head Office of Counterintelligence Investigation and requires that feedback on these dockets be provided to the crime detection environment. It reinforces that investigative accountability for case dockets properly resides under the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection. It further illustrates that my engagement on this issue was consistent, transparent, and directed at ensuring compliance with approved South African Police Service performance structures, rather than reflecting any personal or improper motive. To characterize this matter as anything beyond a routine operational adjustment is an attempt to inflate a minor issue into something far more significant than it ever
Sorry,
was.
General, I think you've skipped
I skipped.
a page. You actually had page 60, 189.
Apologies. I don't know if I should really read it from the previous part so that it flows. Or
You
must I
can
just carry
continue
on?
from 189 additionally.
Yeah, additionally, yeah.
Additionally, and as appears from Annexus SS29, the National Commissioner did not approve the request insofar as it relates to counterintelligence dockets. Contrary to the narrative he now seeks to advance before the Commission, I accepted his decision and left the matter at that. I did not pursue it further, nor did I insist upon any transfer of counterintelligence docket. It is therefore incorrect and misleading for National Commissioner to suggest that I was intent on removing counterintelligence docket from the crime intelligence environment. Then I said, please refer to page 484. Paragraph 190, notwithstanding the above, it must be emphasized that my proposal was entirely unexceptional and fully consistent with generally accepted governance standards. It is concerning and quite frankly unbecoming for the National Commissioner to elevate such routine matters of operational oversight into so-called point of contention, when in truth they were matters that any person properly discharging the responsibilities of Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection would be expected to raise. His attempt to retrospectively label ordinary and policy-aligned oversight as something untoward is unwarranted and should not be countenanced. Just to add that this is what the National Commissioner expects me to do, just what I read above. So paragraph 191, the National Commissioner's third alleged point of contention relates to my view that General Khumalo should not continue to oversee the PKTT and that its oversight should instead be assigned to General Senthumule. My position was premised on the operational reality that Crime Intelligence Division was suffering the consequences of General Khumalo's extensive involvement with the PKTT, resulting in this diminished focus on his core mandate and responsibilities. To characterize this matter as anything beyond a routine operational adjustment is an attempt to inflate a minor issue into something far more significant than it ever was. In any event, the holding and expression of views in both lawful and inevitable in the is both lawful and inevitable in the proper discharge of executive and operational functions. Such engagement form part of ordinary decision-making and operational discourse, and is neither prohibited nor irregular. The expression of such views or options cannot without more be transmuted into evidence of impropriety or misconduct. Properly understood, the National Commissioner's complaint against me is not a bona fide complaint. It is contrived, selective in its focus, and premised on an incomplete account of the events leading to the disestablishment of the PKTT. In particular, it seeks to isolate my conduct from the broader institution and leadership context within which the relevant discussions and decisions occurred. The complaint further fails to engage with or account for the National Commissioner's own leadership responsibilities, including his prior knowledge of, participation in, and contribution to the discussions and processes that culminated in the disestablishment of the PKTT. By omitting this context, the complaint advanced a distorted narrative that improperly characterized routine operational engagement as misconduct, while deflecting attention from the National Commissioner's own role in the decision-making process. Allegations made by General Khumalo. I now proceed to address and canvass the allegations made by General Khumalo during his testimony before the Commission. At the time of depositing to this affidavit, I had not been finished with the written statement and the completed transcript of General Khumalo's evidence before the Commission. I have accordingly not been in a position to properly consider or analyze his evidence in its entirety. In this regard, I refer to Annex SS4 and SS5, being correspondence exchange between my attorneys and the Commission concerning the documents I requested, which were necessary for the preparation of this affidavit, and which, as at the date hereof, I had not yet received. I also attached.
I'm sorry, General. Ms. Hassim, if I'm not mistaken, in my reading, I think I picked up about 3 such complaints, possibly even 4. Is it correct that the General did not get the documents he's referring to? And if so, what's the evidence leader's explanation?
The statement, annexures, and transcripts were provided on 16 January in relation to this complaint regarding the evidence of General Khumalo. So there's been time since 16 January for the witness to address it.
All right.
And that was going to be my question now to the witness, which
All
is
right,
to say, General, that this was provided to you on the 16th of January, right. And you haven't supplemented.
All right, let's leave it then. Let's deal with it during the question,
sure.
if that's found to be necessary. General, please continue. I also attach here too.
What I wanted to ask, Chair, is that
you wish to respond to?
Yes, as you can see, Chair, this part I underline.
General, may I suggest this? I heard Ms. Hassim say that she is going to engage you on this at the second stage of this process. May we leave the explanation you want to give for that stage, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You will get the opportunity.
Okay.
Thank you, General. Please continue.
I will proceed Chair, the reason why you see me reading this and going straight, it was as advised that you go through the statement. So I was just going through the statement.
Yes, yes.
Maybe if there is any supplementary, so I wanted to check if there is that I can then maybe take from and read so that I don't get to a point where I still say we didn't get when in fact it was then later given but in a different file. So that is what I wanted to check. Because sometimes if it was indeed sent on that date, it's something that I should be having, but I will proceed reading, Judge, as what I have in front of me.
Please,
Thank you,
Chair.
Chairperson.
You should do so, and my colleague Commissioner Khumalo has just showed me the date stamp of the commissioning police or sub-center. It appears that the affidavit was commissioned on the 12th of January, which appears to be, or rather which is before the 16th that Ms. Hassim is referring to. So factually what you say may well be correct, but as I say, let's engage further on this at a later stage, if that will still be necessary. Please
I will
continue.
just proceed reading.
Please continue.
Thank you. Paragraph 1.
Oh, sorry, I was not.
I'm not sure whether we're talking past each other. So the statement is correct that at the time, the annexures and transcripts in the statements had not been provided to the witness, but they were then provided on 16 January. So my point was, did you supplement it then? Because as far as we're aware, there's no supplemented statement that we've received to address the further information that you said you wanted to address in this statement, pertaining to General Khumalo, for example.
What I may say, my legal team may advise if we did, of which I think we responded. However, I did make my own notes on the side in case I have to continue on General Khumalo, but then I don't want to deviate. I have made my own notes of what I want to say, but as maybe directed by the chair, I will read.
Yes,
until
please. Yes, General. Let us do that.
Thank you, Chair.
Let us do that.
Paragraph 197. In these circumstances, I confine myself to addressing only those aspects of his testimony that were glaring to me at this stage. I respectfully reserve my right to supplement this affidavit and to deal fully with General Khumalo's evidence once the written statement and full transcript have been made available. General Khumalo testified before this commission that a white BMW, which he asserted was assigned to my office, was observed on 27 November 2024 at the residence of one Katiso Molefe, and that the driver of the vehicle was allegedly seen collecting a white paper bag from Molefe. I submit that that testimony is factually unsustainable. The white BMW in question was only assigned to my office on 4 August 2025. I attach here to a diary entry made on the very date the vehicle was received, marked SS32. The entry records not only the receipt of the vehicle, but also its condition at the time. Then I have written here page 501 and 502 in a red pen. Accordingly, at the time the vehicle...
General, sorry to interrupt. Just for the record, Chair, the witness did this past Monday submit to the Commission an additional annexure SS46, which is to be read with this paragraph 200. It's not reflected here because it only came on Monday. Continue, General.
Accordingly, at the time the vehicle was allegedly seen at Mr. Molefe's residence, it was neither assigned to me or my office nor under my control. The premise upon which General Khumalo's evidence rests is therefore demonstrably incorrect. In addition, On 27 November 2024, I was in Cape Town on official subs business, attending a meeting of the Portfolio Committee on Police. I attached here to marked SS33 corroborating documentation, including the hotel receipt for my accommodation and the official agenda of the Portfolio Committee meeting for the date. The document objectively confirmed my whereabouts. There are no obscure or contested facts. They were readily verifiable through elementary checks of vehicle assignment records. General Khumalo's failures to undertake such verification before presenting this evidence materially undermines the reliability of his testimony. More significantly, the omission of these readily ascertainable facts resulted in evidence being placed before this commission that is not merely incomplete, but misleading in effect. The testimony creates an inference of proximity or association with, when tested against objective records, cannot be sustained. In these circumstances, General Khumalo's evidence on this issue must be approached with caution. The demonstrable inaccuracy of the foundational facts, coupled with the absence of basic verification, raises serious concerns about the credibility, objectivity, and evidential weight of his testimony, particularly insofar as it seeks to implicate me by association rather than by substantiated fact. In addition, the persistence in advancing these allegations without verification and in circumstances where objective record directly contradicted, in my view, place his motive for doing so squarely into question. It is also noteworthy that General Khumalo presented this commission evidence depicting the said notorious white BMW following and providing protection to me during October 2025. This raises a fundamental difficulty. According to the testimony of the National Commissioner, information allegedly implicating me in the involvement with an alleged drug cartel had already been made available to Minister Mgunu as early as January 2025. If that is so, it is unclear why evidence from October 2025 relating to a vehicle assigned to my official security detail only in August 2025 is being relied upon to retrospectively link me to alleged conduct said to have occurred in November 2024, at a time when the vehicle was not assigned to me at all. The chronological disconnect is stark. Evidence post-dating the alleged conduct by almost a year is being deployed to suggest corroboration of events which, on the objective fact, could not have involved me or a vehicle under my control. This incongruity renders the evidence not only irrelevant to the allegations it seeks to support, but also misleading in its effect. When viewed holistically, it underscores a pattern of selective presentation of facts divorced from their proper sequential and factual context. In my view, this is not a benign oversight. It materially undermines the reliability and probative value of the evidence, and taken together with the earlier inaccuracies, place General Khumalo's credibility and his motive for advancing this narrative squarely into question. The cumulative effect of the evidence placed before the Commission reveals a pattern of selective disclosure whereby information is chosen and presented in a manner that advances a predetermined narrative about me rather than a balanced, objective account of witness C. Now,
account of the facts. That's how the sentence ends.
Can you please repeat?
Sorry, you misread the last line. It should read rather than a balanced and objective account of the facts.
Now, my concern, commissioners, this is a very important part of that was the nation believed that I'm involved, and a white paper bag they went to collect a paper bag associated with me. I don't want to elaborate much, but what I want
Don't you think this statement does that fairly substantially, because the simple point made there is that, as I understand it, at the time the BMW appears to be linked to you, it had not yet been allocated to your office. And I think you make that point quite clearly. Do you think there's a need for substantiation?
Yes, Commissioner.
All right,
I think there's a particular specific need.
But please be brief.
I will be brief. That vehicle was allocated to the detectives for quite some time. It has been with the cold case unit for quite some time. Now, at the time, it was used by my two protectors. These two is a team that I chose when they were at. This is the team that I deployed at the border gate of Mozambique to fight crime that side. I said, let me call the people that I trust. And then they sent them, whilst I was already on suspension long time ago, they knew about this BMW. They had it. They had the footage. They had the CCTV footage. But they chose, after the chair said to General Khumalo, I've gone through your statement, and I came across no evidence. He booked sick leave. When he comes back, then he introduces this part and the part of Jerry Boshoga. Now, this part to link the BMW as the one they gave to the protectors as they kept there, I knew. They didn't even know about the BMW. I didn't even know that they are sitting with CCTV that involve the one who went to collect the bag. Now, there's this new people who come not knowing anything, they give them this BMW. Then later they come, they say, you see this BMW driving out of General Sibiya's house. This is the same BMW. Then the whole country is saying, yeah, this is what we've been seeing, which is not the case. I can move on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Allegations made by witness C. As with the testimony of General Khumalo, at the time of depositing this affidavit, I had not been finished with the written statement or the complete transcript of this witness evidence before the commission. I have accordingly been prejudiced in that I have not been in a position to properly consider or analyze this evidence in its entirety. I ought to have been afforded the opportunity to forensically assess this witness testimony, particularly in light of the evidence that there exists a 6-hour recording of Madlanga recorded pursuant to his arrest, in which he alleged to have made various statements concerning me. The failure to make this recording available has materially prejudiced my ability to properly consider, analyze, and respond to the allegations arising from the testimony, notwithstanding that I have been implicated therein. After the witness completed his or her testimony, I specifically contacted my attorney to request the full recording referred to in that testimony. Said correspondence addressed to the commission by my attorneys is attached here to mark SS34. That recording has not been made available to me. I have no evidence as to how this recording was extracted or obtained. No information has been disclosed regarding its provenance. The circumstances under which it was recorded, the device from which it was sourced, or the manner in which it was preserved. There has likewise been no disclosure of any chain of custody, nor any assurance that the recording is complete, unaltered, or accurately reflects the original content. In these circumstances, the alleged recording is inherently unreliable. Its existence and purported content raises serious concerns as to authenticity, accuracy, and integrity, including whether it may have been edited, selectively presented, or otherwise manipulated. Absent proper disclosure and independent verification, it cannot reasonably be relied upon as evidence against me. Furthermore, I categorically deny that I have ever received, solicited, or accepted any form of gratification, inducement, benefit, or kickback from Matala for any other from any other person. Any suggestion to the contrary is false, unfounded, and devoid of any factual basis. It is untrue that now I need the chairperson and the commissioner's guidance. I don't want to call this name. In the meantime, it was witness so and so, and then tomorrow it will be like I exposed a name. I just want to get the guidance from the commission.
General, Ms. Bowe, please do not show this part of the, there are so many. I see also in 221.
Chair, it is redacted in the version that's
oh.
going to be flighted.
General, may you please refer to witness F?
I will do so.
Yes.
I'm reading where I hope I won't make a mistake somewhere, but I saw it the first time. I hope I won't make the mistake, Chair.
Yes. All right, now, please continue, General.
Thank you.
Well spotted, General.
On the other hand, just to ask one question, because of the fact that that video is on TV, and then if I refer to witness, I'm still in event saying this is the person. So I don't know. If the chairperson say move, I'll move.
Just continue, and when we get there, you see the difficulty is, and the reality is. So in a sense, it's. Let me not use the word I almost used.
I have a suggestion, Chair.
Yes.
According to my statement, this is the person that I'm talking to. But whichever witness XZ remain witness XZ. And it does not necessarily mean that witness XZ, it is the person that I'm talking about here. So as to make things easy. Otherwise, I will be then exposing him, even if I say witness so-and-so, they will say, oh, this is the same person. That's my suggestion, Chair.
Just use F. We do have the difficulty that everybody knows we have, but just say witness F.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair.
For what it's worth.
It is untrue that Sergeant Witness F works under my command or that he acted as a middleman for the passing of money to or through me. Whilst Witness F falls within my broader portfolio, he does not report to me. He is several levels below me in the organizational hierarchy and has a direct line manager to whom he reports, which is not me. However, I want to make a statement that says I don't distance myself from being close to him. It is correct that Witness F and I have a close personal relationship. However, the relationship does not translate into, nor does it evidence any corrupt, improper conduct In particular, it does not mean that witness F acted or could have acted as an intermediary through whom I receive any illicit fund. It is notable that I am not the only senior SAPS official with whom witness F has a close personal relationship. Despite this, I am the only individual singled out in an apparent attempt to advance a narrative of impropriety. This is especially striking given that witness F is equally, if not more closely associated with other senior officials, including General Senthumule, and General Mkhwanazi, yet no similar allegations have been leveled against them. I have pictures, bike riding, I have birthday parties where witness is together with these colleagues that I've mentioned. He's very close, he's a biker. He's a kind of a person, not because of his rank, is a supportive person. When we have death case in the family, he's one of those people who say, how can I support? I will come and also support. Or if you, is a person that is you get used to because he assists. He will assist. He will come to you and say, I know you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm here, making myself available to assist. So you get used to such a person. We do have such people, all of us, in our lives. In page 222, in fact, to my knowledge, witness F and General Senthumule are known to socialize and engage in recreational activities together, including biking towards over the weekend. I do have a video material that I can actually play if needs be, but I do have it. That shows the relationship and how close they are. And then even in a party, birthday party where they are together, I do have those. It may not necessarily be to put because it will expose, but I do have such now. This further illustrates that witness F maintains close personal relationship with a number of senior SAPS officials, and that my association with him is neither unique nor indicative of any impropriety. The selective focus on my relationship with witness F is therefore unfounded, indicative of a prejudicial and misleading inference. Likewise, as with the testimony of General Khumalo, I reserve my right to supplement this affidavit upon being finished with the alleged record, as well as the written statement and the full transcript of the witness testimony. Now, I'm about to leave General Khumalo's part and then go now to General Senthumule's part. There are things that I feel that I noted that I must also bring to the fore, where I made notes on the side. So I needed to hear from my council chair, because he said, this morning she advised me and said, I saw, or I was advised that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 that you want to mention. Don't mention it before you discuss it with me. So I will rather maybe proceed, and then maybe at break, then she will advise me. But I do have my minutes that I made, so as not to deviate from the statement and waste time. Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you.
General Senthumule's testimony. At the time of depositing to this affidavit, I had not been finished with the written statement and the incomplete transcript of General Senthumule's evidence before the Commission. I have accordingly not been in a position to properly consider or analyze her evidence in its entirety. In the circumstances, I respectfully reserve my right to supplement this affidavit and to deal fully with General Senthumule's evidence once the written statement and full transcript have been made available. Notwithstanding the above, I wish to draw the Commission's attention to General Senthumule's public criticism. During her testimony before the Commission of the disbandment of the PKTT and the withdrawal of the 121 dockets. However, on numerous occasions during telephonic conversation between General Senthumule and myself prior thereto, she was openly critical of the PKTT. Especially, I recall a particular telephone conversation in which General Senthumule expressed the view that the PKTT was untouchable and alleged that, in her opinion, the task team was being used to siphon the budget allocated to it. She further indicated that she did not believe that the PKTT genuinely engaged in effective policing or delivering meaningful investigative outcome. I was also able to retrieve a
General, sorry to interrupt, but again, for the record, I must point out that you did provide the Commission again on Monday with 2 annexures, SS 41 and 42, and you requested that they be read together with this paragraph that you just read out, section 228. I'm just putting that on the record.
I was able to retrieve a recording of this conversation from my device and I furnished a copy thereof to my attorneys for forward transmission to the Commission. I wanted to play that recording, to request that it be played. It's not long, but I know that the kind of a person who came here before the Commission and testified, and I want the Commission to hear the same person, the different language, the same person is now talking. I don't know if I should continue reading.
We'll play the audio clip, but there is also a transcript of the audio clip, and that's at SS 47. If I can just SS 40, I'll just locate the file now, Commissioner Below. File 2A.
Is it SS 47?
It's, apologies, Commissioner Below, it's SS 42. Page 627.
Please play the clip.
Yeah. Under the guise of this task team.
Nathi sikhona lapha
Honestly.
siyaphandwa lapha siyaphenywa lapha.
Yeah, and ngiyacabanga ukuthi Natali, I'm sure we're busy because this is where these things are cooked. What I find embarrassing, and when I talk to people, sometimes they are complicit to crime being committed.
Yeah.
Which are complicit because Khumalo sebenza nabo.
Yeah.
Ne?
Yeah.
Le mfana beka constable nini ngisayithapti ngoba warrant ngoba captain seka uKennel but uhamba la khamba khona uLucky.
Oh, uLucky ulomubi.
uLucky umkhona.
Oh.
So at some point there was into ngathi bayarelate bayafana futhi. Ngathi they relate.
Oh, fana nomkhwanazi.
Yeah, kakhulu futhi. So
and uyena lo suspect ukuthi uthathe imali.
I would suspect uye lo NPA ethatha imali but
ngithumela ushabalala.
Manje into engayi understand ne ukuthi Khumalo, like, bakhuluma ngathi benza into eziright, like, yazi mina kuthi general ngafunda ukuthi uba isilima kuyanceda yabona ngoba mawusuka ubabonisa ukuthi uyabona kula wenza khona izitha so rather abacabanga ukuthi uhleli la abacabanga ukuthi uhleli khona but it's the same young Khumalo uyo busy. I asked him the other day ngimbonise ngathi ufunani wena la bathi ngimkuthathini ngathi uqacishe ngawo cishe ngathi hawu so umkhona ukuthumele ngala
ugijima ngami lo
so uthunyiwe because trust me at some point he was his driver ne mara ukuthi nje yela ungambona ufana no Lucky at some point I can't remember wathi no ngathi bayahlobana yabona so I understand ukuthi le team wayengakhona ukuma sorry but it is because khona udoti nje abawupushayo that I can tell you because yini into enzima that's why ngithi mina tomorrow sibize ukuthi ama docket if as a court there's no need for team ukuthi hlala yenzani if case ya court niyabizwa niyasapuna nama witnesses you understand niya on that day hayi ukuthi kumele nihlale ngathi nilinde
I think uconsultant no Lucky wathi no amadocket wamalethela kini
but akakwazi angisho kune instruction general
ukuthi aye kuwe
yes
yebo
so which is why ngithi mina yabona ukuthi without ukuthi siveze ukuthi mina ngime kuphi asiyenza ofana ukona usibize nje uthi hayi na instruction general Senthumule give me feedback yebo
yeah ngizombiza but angithi uzongitshela nje anginikeza iexcuse ukuthi akekho local or ukuphi angithi ubonile ukuthi yena siya attenda wonke umuntu uyattenda yena akaveli yena
ufonile nje ubaletha ama documents ngathi mina sonke base size college onimbuku wathi naye uke uhlale office ngathi mina ayibumnandi bawe ngoba wena uvunyelwe uyabona
yena ubusy uyazi ngokutshela babusy bagijima ngami left right and center hot monitoring basizama amafoni wami ngapha nangapha ngiyathola konke lokho yabo
but into ebuhlungu general ne ukuthi umgodi mina ngafunda ukuthi umgodi mawugubha akungeni lo mgubhela ngena wena
iproblem ukuthi ngihlala nomphathi wami ungathakazi lokho kodwa uyazokunginika ngicela ukuphendula lokho lengenayo tu
okay general mina tekele sharp general.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. When she says umene tekela, she's actually saying, referring to the National Commission, and say the National Commissioner imene. I do have another recording, but I don't think it's necessary to play it because it has got also another language used by her. But it's a recording. If the commissioners want to have it, it's available to have it. So I just wanted to show that one moment she was saying when she speaks about General Mkhwana, she says ushamas, we bambishisa, wenza so. In the meantime, on the other hand, this is the language that she speaks to me as we speak. So and the reason why I recorded something that led to this is that the National Commissioner gave me information about what she said about me, and she said you can go ask her. And then in going to confront her, I realized that if I were to go confront her, she might come back and say, I came to threaten her, I did this and I did that. And so I realized that that might be dangerous. So I went straight home. When I'm at home, because the National Commission said, you can ask her. She was sitting here where you are sitting in a private jet and said she was sitting there and she said 1, 2, 3. So as a result of that, I called her, but I chose to make sure that at least let me record the conversation so that tomorrow, even when she makes allegations, I'm protected. That's the sole reason why I had to record that. But I will move on now. Now,
General, let's just place the date. Look at the first page, at page 626 of the transcript. Is the SS42? Is the date recorded there, to your recollection, the date of the discussion between you and General Senthumule?
It has got It has got the date on it, the recording.
It's, this is in file 2A, file 2A, page 626, SS42. And then there's recorded at and then date held. So I wanted you, or rather I wanted to know if you confirm that that's the date you had the discussion with General Senthumule.
That's the date, because I see the verse number on top.
Please read the date into the record.
This is to certify.
Not just the
No.
date, just
Or the
read
date.
the date, yes.
Or the date, it will be on the 23rd of 4/2025.
Thank you, General.
That's all.
And that was the date on which you had this conversation with General Senthumule?
I take it because I know it from my phone. There's got the date now. I see the date here, I confirm. If this date that I see here is that what is in the recording, I confirm.
Well, can you, in the adjournment, just double check that that is the correct date of the conversation?
I will do that. And then the last.
Before you move on, General, Ms. Hassim, you've given these additional annexures. SS42, we know it's that transcript of the discussion. What is SS41 for the record? And I don't recall whether the supplementary SS46 that you referred to earlier, whether it was described for the record, because we didn't go to it. So if you would just say what it is.
I'll do so. SS41 is merely a placeholder for the actual audio recording. So we've just listened to SS41. SS42 is a transcript of that audio recording. And
What-
You can come back to 46 if you're not able to say it now.
SS46 is the register that the General was referring to for the allocation of the car to his office.
Thank you.
The second example that I want to give, which is in fact criminal in nature. General Senthumule said to the commissioners in her testimony here that I was paranoid that I'm being investigated all the time. Now, what happened? And she said her gadgets were taken by the Hawks, her gadgets were taken by IPIT. What actually happened is that I applied to have a security threat assessment conducted for me because of the work that I was doing, especially coming back from the city of Joburg, where I had protectors due to the high level of corruption, the work that I was doing that side, and she rejected it. At that time, as I came in, I reported under her. Now, she rejected it.
So she rejected what exactly?
My request. She disapproved it. The National Commissioner called her and said, but you can do it, because even myself, when I was there, at this level, I had protection. And then she said, she wrote there, I've got paperwork, and I think I attached it. She said, I need a policy that says I can do it. This is what she said. After quite some time, weeks later, I get a call from Department of Finance. Department of Finance is saying, General, we keep on getting these overtime claims about people that are bodyguarding you. Do you have protectors? I say, no, I don't have bodyguards. He said, but we've got this paperwork with her signature and staff officer's signature claiming overtime for me, for the protectors that are protecting me. People that I've never seen, their names are there, I know them, I've seen them. I've never met those people even to date. I have paperwork where overtime was paid, where paperwork was signed by her, together with her staff officer. Then what should a reasonable man under or in my position do is to report it. And I reported it to IPIT. So IPIT, please look into this. And I didn't want to maintain a bad relationship with her. I became neutral and unchanged. I continued to work with her as if everything is normal. Now, the bottom line is, I was not protected by those individuals. Here's paperwork with her signature. I wish it can be shown here, in fact, because I did submit it. However, what is important to note is that money was paid. I did not have those bodyguards. She signed together with the PA, with her staff officer. That's the bottom line. So those two on each, I want to just, Chair, I've got a number of issues that I want to raise in relation to this part of General Senthumule. Now, the difference that I had with General Senthumule is that I was after I was then promoted to become her boss now. The thing is, she came here, she was talking about, I've been the chair of this and I'm the chairperson of this, and in some of those I nominated to be the chair there, I sent her there. Now, I want to say, like the recent Interpol one in Cape Town, I'm the one who said we've got the National Assembly of Interpol represent us as the division, and she went and she was the one representing us there. But what I want to say is that each time we appoint someone to act as the acting divisional commissioner, because she's going all over the country to Malawi, every now and then she's going. When the person that I appoint to act, they will find 3-4 boxes with a lot of files. And you find that some of the due dates have long passed, and then we are sitting with boxes that are unsigned, and the National Commissioner says, but what is going on? Why do I get this file 3 months later? Or some of the files are just lying and have not been signed. And some of them, she will take them home and they will spend weeks at her home. Now, I then wrote an email to all of them, including the component heads, that says, documents should not sit in any office for more than 48 hours. I must have it so that I can also sign, because I account to the National Commissioner.
And those HR issues now, this about boxes and so on, and how
I've
long
got
they should or should not be kept. Are those not HR issues that should have been ventilated within SAPS? Do they bear relevance to what we are investigating?
Yes. What I'm saying is that I'm leading to, there's a number of things, including that what is being investigated, but something caused the situation to be the way it is, where I have to then, she said I'm a touch and go. Today you are in good terms, tomorrow you are not. But the problem is that I have to do my work. For me not to fail the National Commissioner, I also have to be strict on some instances. That's why I was saying this, Commissioner. But there's a number of issues that I've written here that I must point out. That is one of them. I'm moving to the next one, and I don't know if I've...
What I will say is this. We don't want to be seen to be suppressing you on matters of criminality or alleged criminality, especially at a level as high as that of lieutenant generals, or generals for that matter, even if below lieutenant general. We would not want to be seen to be suppressing you on that. But looking at your statement, it's probably, yeah, it's certainly one of the longest, probably around the length of Minister Mkunu's. Yours and Minister Mkunu's are the longest we have had thus far. So that tells me that there must have been extensive consultations between you and your legal representatives. I'm surprised that you have all these additional issues which you want to add. And I'm wondering whether you did not inform your legal representatives about them. Because if you had and they are of relevance, I would imagine they would have been included here. But I go back to the point I made initially, which is that it would be the last thing we would want to do, that is to suppress you on allegations of criminality. But you appear to have a whole lot of things that you say you have notes on and which you say you want to add. I would say this, perhaps, Ms. Killian, perhaps it's best that you should have discussions with your client on these additional issues, because it gets difficult and it presents us here with certain practical issues for us to first have to listen and then down the line decide, but do we want to get into files that have been delayed and been kept for 3 months and so on, and then we move on, we listen. We don't want to listen to that as well. It just presents us with difficulties.
Thank you, Chair. I understand what is raised, and this has been discussed with the witness. We will again raise it during the tea time. I think if he moves on his statement and keep those additional issues for discussions and consultation purposes.
Yeah. The other option is for the witness, subject to your advice, of course, to furnish us with a supplementary statement that touches on all these issues.
If it is necessary, we will consider that position. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. General, please continue with your statement. So I again emphasize that we are not suppressing you on testifying on matters of criminality that bears relevance to our terms of relevance. But please take advice from your
I do, Chair. May I ask a question, Chair?
Yes.
Or just a comment, and this with respect as well. No, I'm not arguing. Please don't punish me for that, Chair. What I want to raise, Chair, is that from 6 July, when a statement was made about General Sibiya being a criminal, and when things were said by all the witnesses, many witnesses that came in, and just all of them panting General Sibiya, and I know the commission is sitting here with General Sibiya, who is known to be this criminal. And I was also advised to keep quiet and you will speak at the right time, at the right platform. Now I'm at the right platform where I've kept quiet. They've brought many witnesses. Everything is about me, even out there, the whole country watching me. And when I'm supposed to bring now my story, I'm going to leave here now not having brought their own story that relates to the work of the commission and the work that I am doing, or that I did that involved them, including even in criminal activities. Because it's bullet. I know there has been a lot of rush work because of the way the commission, the first lawyer that I dealt with resigned from the firm and left, and then she took over. Now the next thing is, every now and then we're receiving piles and piles of files from the commission, even until the last hour. Now, when I write, I read the statement. On the side, I make notes. My team was saying to me, read your statement, and then make notes on the side. Now, I read my statement and I make notes on the things that I want to say as examples, because if I had to give it to them, it's going to be a very long document. So I thought some of the things I'll speak to. Now, if I am not able to point them out, I know my like I said initially, she said to me, whatever that you want to say, let's discuss it first. But I thought some of these things will be relevant to the work that is being done by the commission. But I will take advice, Chair, from you with respect. I will then just for now keep quiet and then listen what the council will advise me on. I will read the statement. My only pain is that my story is not known and is not heard by the nation as it's supposed to be, because I know that it is not true, and I have evidence Somebody spoke about the BBL. And I know Commissioner Khumalo was also asking questions about the BBL. She reported to me she was she could not sit in the car, she was lying in the car because she had to spend over 3 months without sitting.
Who's she?
General Senthumule. Now, I'm just saying, there's a whole lot of things that one must talk to as we go along. It's a lot.
Yeah,
Chair, may I-
General, earlier I said, the idea is not to gag you on matters that bear relevance to what the Commission is investigating, especially matters of criminality. That's the last thing we would want to do. But I am saying, and you say that you want the nation to know your story. You have told your story. Yes, you may have other detail. In the 90 pages of your statement, which, as I said, is one of the longest we have had, you have told your story, and you are going to go through that entire statement, and the nation will hear what you have to say. I'm making a simple point, and it is this. We listen to you, you tell us about matters of criminality, and then you move on to other issues, and these are not in your statement. You move on to other issues, one example being the question of the loads and loads of files, about which you raised a complaint. These have been kept for more than 3 months. Files should not be kept for this long, and I ask you, is that not an HR matter? We are going, if you have all of these stories which are not in your statement, we are going to be engaging on the relevance of some of those stories, and we are going to waste time in the process. I make a simple suggestion to you, which I also make to Ms. Killian, your advocate. And I say, please confer with Ms. Killian. Ms. Killian, as your legal advisor, will advise you which ones of those matters are relevant and should therefore be raised with the Commission. She will also even advise you whether the best way of doing that is by way of a supplementary statement or by way of you giving testimony here about them. I see no unfairness at all in that.
Thank you very much,
I see no unfairness
Thank
at
you, Chair.
all. Thank you.
I'll proceed, Chair.
Please.
Paragraph, I have to now go to command and control and failures evidential from the National Commissioner's testimony. In this section of the affidavit, I deal with the overarching tenor of the testimony before the Commission, with particular reference to the evidence of the National Commissioner and to a lesser extent that of General Mkhwanazi. The National Commissioner's testimony contained nuanced inconsistencies, which raises legitimate questions regarding the effectiveness of his leadership. By way of example, his version reflects a situation in which two senior officials were permitted to operate under contradictory instructions without clarity or coordination at the level of National Commissioner. Such contradictory direction is indicative of ineffective command and control, creates confusion within the organization, undermines operational efficiency, and exposes the institution to unnecessary risk. Now, I make a note here that says, please refer to the Portfolio Committee's chair statement, but I'll proceed with the statement. What is particularly remarkable is the vagueness of the National Commissioner's testimony regarding the steps he took once he became aware that the docket had been moved to head office when questioned by Commissioner Baloyi on the action he took in response to this development. It was expressly put to him that I reported to him and that he was my superior, yet despite this knowledge, the National Commissioner was unable to articulate any decisive action that he took to address what he now characterized as serious misconduct. Then I also read 235 and 236 and 237. It was further put to him that he knew there was no approved plan authorizing the relocation of the dockets, and when asked General Masemola what he did about this, his response was, and I quote, "At some point I did talk to him, that I hear rumors that dockets are here. Remember, the agreement was dockets go to province, which you disprove, that they go to station of origin. So there cannot be dockets that come to this head office. So make sure that you do likewise. There should not be dockets that is here." I'm continuing with the statement, but I wanted to just quickly point out that the Commissioner also says that they said docket should go to province. He agrees that the docket had to go to province. It is extraordinary that this constituted the response of the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service. General Masemola has repeatedly asserted that my purported instruction to have the dockets brought to head office was highly irregular and improper. Yet, when confronted with precisely the same circumstances he now elevates as a grave irregularity, the extent of his intervention was limited to vague and informal remarks about rumors rather than any decisive or corrective action. Considering the fact that General Senthumule said, "I did inform the National Commissioner," so it's not rumors, he was told by General Senthumule. I'm proceeding. Such a response is wholly inconsistent with the seriousness he claims to attach to the matter. His failure to act in the face of what he alleges was a serious procedural impropriety fundamentally undermines the credibility of his allegations against me and reflect a concerning abdication of leadership responsibilities at a critical juncture. This is, in my view, calls into question the sudden outrage directed at my purported conduct and suggests an after-the-fact reconstruction of events rather than a genuine concern. The stance now advanced by the National Commissioner bears no resemblance to his previous conduct and appears instead to have emerged only once there was heightened national scrutiny and criticism following the press briefing delivered by General Mkhwanazi. It is significant that at a time when he claims to have held grave reservations about the handling of the dockets and the disbandment implementation plan, he neither actively intervened to hold the purported irregular conduct nor took any formal steps to reprimand me or take corrective action. His current assertion must therefore be understood within the context in which they arise. They are calculated to create distance between himself and operational decisions made under his oversight and to deflect responsibility at a moment when public attention has intensified. Such conduct creates the distinct impression that the narrative now advanced is shaped less by an accurate recollection of events and more by a desire to protect his own position in response to external criticism. These inconsistencies warrant a cautious approach by the Commission in assessing the credibility of the evidence and his attempt to attribute impropriety to my actions. Of equal concern is the National Commissioner's testimony regarding the events surrounding the attempted return of the dockets to KwaZulu-Natal. He testified that I was not supposed to remove the dockets from the province without knowledge of the provincial commissioner. Yet, despite this alleged impropriety, he stated that I should finish what I started and ensure that the dockets were returned in the same way that I had taken them. Just to remind the commissioners that considering the fact that they were brought by General Khumalo and he sent Sergeant Khumalo. They were brought by CI to head office, not by me. It devised logic that the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service would respond in such a manner. Even if one were to assume, for argument's sake, that he was genuinely dissatisfied with the relocation of the dockets to head office, his response upon learning of the failed effort to return them to KwaZulu-Natal and the reasons therefore ought to have been to intervene decisively. One would reasonably expect the National Commissioner, as the ultimate custodian of command and control, to take charge of the situation, to engage directly with General Mkhwanazi, and to issue clear formal directives to ensure that the dockets were returned through proper channels. Instead, his purported instructions suggest abdication of responsibility and a lack of meaningful leadership involvement in an operational matter he now portrays as critical. His reaction in this irreconcilable with the seriousness he attributes to the issue and raises material questions about the reliability of his testimony and the adequacy of his oversight in the circumstances. Importantly, this conduct demonstrates a leader who was not exercising effective control over a matter falling squarely within his responsibility as National Commissioner. It is also noteworthy that the National Commissioner claims that he only became aware in early May that the 121 dockets classified as under investigation by the PKTT had been removed from the PKTT and handed over to General Senthumule, an event he characterized as yet another surprise. It is with respect remarkable that a general of his standing who attended the very meetings at which the operational implementation of the disestablishment plan was discussed, could repeatedly profess surprise at developments arising from decisions in whose formulation and oversight he was directly involved. It is equally difficult to accept this aspect of his version. On his own account, he was working closely with General Khumalo in putting together the phased-out disestablishment plan. It was General Khumalo who, on the 28th of April, handed the case dockets to General Senthumule. Yet the National Commissioner would have the Commission accept that General Khumalo, who was operating in close coordination and proximity with him throughout his process, did not inform him. On the very day that the docket had been handed over, that proposition is quite simply impossible. Now I'm moving to allegations of a potentially corrupt relationship with Brown Moti. I know Brown Moti as an activist based in the Northwest province. During or about December 2024, Moti began contacting me, during which communications he warned me that certain individuals were purportedly attempting to have me removed from SAPS. He further informed me that false information was being circulated about me. I met Moti for the first time in January 2025 when I was in Cape Town, or about the 8th. Now, here in the statement, it says about the 8th to attend the African National Congress Gala Dinner event. It was an error here because I was there on official duties, not attending the gala dinner. I was not even at the gala dinner myself, so I think it was just unfortunate sentence, how it was crafted here by maybe my lawyer.
So you're wishing to amend,
To amend.
your paragraph 250?
Yes, I never attended gala dinner. I don't attend the gala dinner. I was there at January 8, as the management of the police will be there to manage the big event that takes place.
Yes, Mr. Sim.
Sorry, I just want to understand, when in January 2025 were you in Cape Town? What dates?
It is somewhere from the 5th until the 12th. I think we've got paperwork around that that shows the.
Okay, so you were there from 5 to 12. You can provide us with that paperwork.
I have it. You'll get it over
Okay.
lunch.
5 to 12 January 2025. And for what purpose were you there?
It is meetings with the minister, including also running over to January 8 and beyond.
What do you mean by running over to January 8?
We went there to Cape Town. The whole management of the police was in Cape Town because if there's going to be a big event, a major event, there will be a deployment in that specific province. And then some of the meetings and operations will be held from that particular province where there's going to be a major event.
Did you attend the ANC gala dinner?
No.
Okay.
It's what I'm trying to correct.
Thanks.
So would it be accurate to record it like this? I met Mokgotsi for the first time in January 2025 when I was in Cape Town from 5 to 12 January 2025 on official business for meetings with the minister. I did not attend the ANC Gala Dinner event.
Yes, the only correction or thing that may change, Chair, will be the date. I do have it. Last night I looked at it, I've got it. So I will make it available, including the signatures of the National Commission that authorized me to go there and the hotel bookings. I've got it. So I was just saying this was a typo, that it was at the gala dinner. I haven't been at the gala dinner. So subsequent to that meeting, Mokgotsi and I met on a couple of occasions in Johannesburg. When I say on a couple of occasions, it's 2 times.
Sorry, General. Sorry to interrupt you. I was going to leave it for later, but I actually think I should ask you this now because it is to clarify your own statement. And that when you say you met him for the first time in January, do you remember the date on which you met him? Because initially when I read the statement, I thought it was around the 8th, but it's not clear to me now.
No.
So when did you meet him?
No, around the 8th. Around the 8th, it was the January 8th statement, somewhere there. But I'm not sure whether it may have been on the 8th exactly, because remember sometimes the 8th becomes on a Wednesday or Thursday, but you find that then the event will be on a Saturday. So, but it was around that. So I have, let me provide the paperwork, but I met him around that morning before I left, because it was the first time I was going to meet him or see him. What happened, see, I tend now to explain. And I don't want to explain.
Okay, I just...
Sorry. Is it not enough if we just proceed on the basis that it was on one of the days when he was in Cape Town?
That's fine, Chair. I just wanted to know whether there was a date that the witness could give us. If not, we will deal with it later.
I'm saying this because I see that the General is not able to give us a specific date. Yeah.
I accept that. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can proceed with your statement.
On the occasions where I met Mokgotsi, we did not discuss any official policing business, nor did we discuss any operational, investigative or intelligence-related matters pertaining to the SAPS. Our interactions were not of an official nature, nor did they involve the exercise of any police function, the exchange of confidential information, or any discussion related to my official duties or responsibilities. But safe to say that I did explain that mostly when I met Mohoti, he informed me about the danger that I'm facing, be careful, you are being investigated yourself. And there's a part that I didn't want to explain, Chair, that looks like, for instance, or maybe I'll inform the evidence at the later stage, because it was not my place to say 1, 2. I can only end it here and say this is where I know him. And then the other part I'll explain to the evidence leader, and then the commissioners will say, no, you can say it. Significantly, at no stage has Mohoti asked or suggested or attempted to arrange for me to meet Madlanga. The inquiry docket and search and seizure warrant.
General, maybe before you proceed there, in that paragraph 250, that very last line where you say, subsequent to that meeting, Mohoti and I met on a couple of occasions in Johannesburg. Couple here meaning twice?
2
or
times.
It's just informal? Twice?
2
Only
times.
Twice. Okay, thank you.
The inquiry docket and search and seizure warrant. On 7 July 2025, an inquiry docket PHQ 2/07/2025 was opened to investigate allegations arising from a media briefing by General Mkhwanazi concerning the disbandment of the PKTT, with Brigadier Sipokunene appointed as the investigating officer. On or about 25th of August 2025, Brigadier Kunene launched an ex parte application in terms of Section 29, subsection 1A of the Cybercrime Act for the issuing of a search, access and seizure warrant. That application identified me and 3 others as suspects in respect of offenses including defeating or obstructing the course of justice, fraud, corruption under the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act, and contravention of the Powers and Privileges and Immunities of Parliament Act. Pursuant to that application, Mudau Judge J granted an order on 25th of August 2025 authorizing the search and seizure of 2 iPhone devices belonging to Madlanga. On 8 October 2025, Mudau J granted a further order ostensibly based on the same ex parte application, authorizing a separate warrant, 1, directed at me alone. Warrant 1 authorized the search, access, seizure of electronic communications linked to my email account, and was executed on 9 October 2025 by members of South African Police Service, including Brigadier Kunene. A copy of warrant 1 is attached here to marked SS35. During the execution of the warrant, my laptop and 4 mobile phones were seized, as well as devices belonging to my, here is written, to my wife, children, and my protectors. I want to correct,
Yes, General.
that my wife's device was not taken because she was not around. My children, they just looked into their phones and left them. They went through them to see what is inside, and they left the one for the children. So it's something that just needed to be corrected. And
So should it read, my laptop and 4 mobile phones were seized, as well as devices belonging to my protectors?
Yes. Now, I don't know somewhere
But does the rest of that sentence still hold true?
it will be true. Because even for the protectors, they took their cell phones as well. So I don't know if it's, I will read. Notwithstanding that several of those devices were not authorized by the warrant, a further mobile phone was seized from me on 17 October 2025 when I came back from ad hoc committee. On or about 21st October 2025, a letter of demand was addressed on my behalf to Brigadier Kunene and the National Commissioner detailing the defects in the warrant 1, recording the unlawfulness of the search and seizure and demanding the immediate return of the seizure items. No response was received. A copy of this letter of demand is attached here to marked as SS36. I must say, till to date, I still don't have my devices, and some of the information that I needed was in the devices. I don't have. On the 2nd of December 2025, my attorneys were served with a further search, access, and seizure warrant 2, authorized on 1 December 2025 by Mudau J, pursuant to a second ex parte application launched by Brigadier Kunene under the same case number. Upon consideration of that application, it is apparent that the founding affidavit is, in all material respect, a duplication of the affidavit used in the first ex parte application, save that the number of alleged suspects was increased without explanation and additional individuals were authorized to participate in the search and seizure operation. Now, on 8 December 2025, I launched an application for the rescission of the order granted ex parte by the Honorable Mudau J on 1st December 2025 on the basis that the resort to an ex parte procedure, particularly in respect of the second ex parte application, was improper, unjustified, and constituted an abuse of process designed to obtain intrusive relief without proper notice or judicial scrutiny. This application is still pending. Chair, what I wanted to...
Sorry, General.
What I wanted to point out, Chair...
Sorry, just a moment, General. Chair, it's just past 11. I wasn't sure whether we should just continue to 11:15 or take a break.
Thank you, Ms. Hassim. Let's just listen to what the General wants to point out, and then we'll take the break.
The issue of in the previous paragraph that I just read, the issue of the additional non-subs individuals were authorized to participate in the search and seizure operation. Something that I just want to confirm again and ascertain with my legal team when I'm back.
We'll take the adjournment at this stage, but we would like to see the evidence leaders and the legal representatives outside right away, please. We'll resume at, did I say, at past. Let's adjourn. Oh, we do see the legible copies of yesterday's documents. Thank you very much, Ms. Killian.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Or do you want to tell us now what the position is?
Thank you for the indulgence and the extra time allowed to consult with General Sibiya. We have come to the agreement, that's myself, my client, and my attorney, that he will continue reading into the record his affidavit. if there are one or two additional things that arise, we will consider a supplementary affidavit over the weekend. It is not cast in stone that that is what we will do, because there was just simply too little time to consider each and every subject that should be scrutinized to find its way into a supplementary. If we do resort to a supplementary, my undertaking is that it will be very brief. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Killian. Yes, Ms. Hasim?
Thank you, Chair. We can return then to the statement. General, you were at paragraph, you had just completed paragraph 257.
I forgot, Ms. Hasim, you'll assist
Sorry,
us
Chair,
with,
so I
with
forgot
where
as
all
well.
of these should go. Yeah.
I meant to say this is the more legible
Yes,
version
yes,
of
yes.
SS 28.
Oh, all right. Perhaps your junior will mark them for us and stick them, or even the instructing attorney, the attorneys, right? Stick them where they should go.
We'll ask the attorneys to attend to
Yes,
this.
yes, yes. Thank you. Yes, General?
Thank you, Chair. I have the dates of the trip to Cape Town that I maybe should read into the court record as I proceed. It was from the 5th of January 2025 when we left for Cape Town, and arrived in Cape Town on the 5th of January, and then we left Cape Town on the 12th and arrived at Pretoria on the 12th of January 2025. Those are the dates, Chair.
Oh, thank you, General.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I must resume from which paragraph, Evidence Leader?
Yes, you had just completed 257, so you're now on 258.
On the 2nd of December 2025, my attorneys were served with a further search, access, and seizure warrant 2, authorized on the 1st of December 2025 by Mudau J, pursuant to a second ex parte application launched by Brigadier Kunene under the same case number. Upon consideration of that application, it is apparent that the founding affidavit is, in all material respect, a duplication of the affidavit used in the first ex parte application, save that the number of alleged suspects was increased without explanation, and additional non-subs individuals were authorized to participate in the search and seizure operation.
General, were you able to clarify? You were going to check whether that this is accurate, the non-SAPS individuals.
I am able to clarify, and I was clarified, and I'm quite comfortable with what is in the paragraph.
Okay.
On the 8th of December 2025, I launched an application for the rescission of the order granted ex parte by the Honorable Mudau J on 1st December 2025 on the basis that the resort to an ex parte procedure, particularly in respect of the second ex parte application, was improper, unjustified, and constituted an abuse of process designed to obtain intrusive relief without proper notice of or judicial scrutiny. This application is still pending. I'm advised that both search and seizure applications and warrant are beset by material defects, either in the manner in which the warrants were obtained or in the execution thereof. In my view, these cumulative irregularities demonstrate a concerted and improper attempt to obtain incriminating material against me, rather than a bona fide investigative process. The manner in which Warrant 1 was executed, including the disproportionate deployment of force and authority and the associated media presence, gives rise to a reasonable inference that the operation was not conducted in a measured or purely investigative manner. Viewed objectively, these circumstances tend to create the perception that the execution of the warrant was calculated to cause reputational harm to me, rather than being confined to what was strictly necessary for the lawful investigative purposes. These events have in turn resulted in extremely social media reporting and commentary, effectively giving rise to a trial by social media, which has, I know it says by trial by media, but it's a typo. It was meant to be social media, which has been materially detriment to me, both personally and professionally. Much of this reporting has been inaccurate and misleading and has amplified reputational harm arising from the manner in which the warrants were executed, rather than reflecting a fair or fact-based account of the underlying events. Now, I'm going to the overall effectiveness or failure of oversight mechanisms within the SAPS. Paragraph 263. Part of the terms of reference of this commission includes an inquiry into the effectiveness or failure of oversight mechanisms within the criminal justice system, as well as the role played by any member of the national executive responsible for the criminal justice system. This encompasses an examination of whether such persons were complicit in, aided or abetted, or otherwise participated in alleged criminal activities, whether they failed to act on credible intelligence or internal warnings, and whether they derived any financial or political benefit from such activities. In such section of my affidavit, I accordingly address conduct within the leadership structures of SAPS, which in my view warrants scrutiny within the scope of the Commission's mandate. Overtime claims in respect of my protection. I became aware of an application for overtime payment in respect of the period 1 May 2023 to 31st of May 2023, allegedly relating to the protection service rendered to me by Warrant Officer Monageng and Warrant Officer Sukhodi, which application was approved by General Senthumule. I attach here to marked Annexer SS37 a copy of the information notice reflecting this application as well as the purported hours of overtime allegedly worked. The application records overtime purportedly worked during May 2023 by Warrant Officer Monageng and Warrant Officer Sukhodi for my protection. This is incorrect. During the period in question, I neither requested nor was allocated any protection service, and no protection details was assigned to me. At no stage during May 2023 did Warrant Officer Monageng or Warrant Officer Sukhodi or any other member of the SAPS perform overtime duties for my protection. The overtime reflected in this application was therefore not rendered as recorded. Upon becoming aware of the existence and approval of this application, I referred the matter to the Independent Police Investigation Directorate for investigation. The application purposed to claim overtime for services that were not requested, not authorized by me, and not performed. The approval of such application in the absence of any factual basis raises serious concerns regarding the accuracy and integrity of the approving authority and the lawfulness of the payment claim. The foregoing raises the question as to how General Senthumule approved the overtime claim in the absence of any verification that protection services were requested, allocated, or rendered, notwithstanding that such verification would have been readily ascertainable. As the approving authority, General Senthumule was required to exercise due diligence to ensure that overtime claims were supported by objective proof that services were authorized and rendered. This would ordinarily include verification of protection allocation records, duty rosters, or confirmation from the protected member. None of this appear to have been undertaken prior approval of the claim. The approval of an overtime claim in these circumstances is not a minor administrative lapse. It implicates systemic weaknesses in financial and operational controls, particularly where claims relate to protection services, which are sensitive, strictly regulated, and easily verifiable. The approval of such a claim without basic verification raises legitimate concerns about whether oversight mechanisms were functioning as intended. At the minimum, the approval of the application reflects a reckless disregard for the verification obligations attendant upon the approving authority. At worst, it raises the possibility that the approval was granted with knowledge that the service claimed had not been rendered. These are matters that properly fell within the investigative remit of IPIT. Now moving over to governance and oversight issues arising from close personal relationship with the Office of the National Commissioner. I have on numerous occasions received complaints from various members of the South African Police Service regarding allegations of nepotism and preferential treatment within the Office of the National Commissioner. In this regard, I have prepared a presentation which I take the Commission to and which is attached here too, marked SS38, setting out the familial and personal relationship between certain individuals employed within the Office of the National Commissioner. I raise these issues because the existence of close familial personal relationship within a single executive office warrants scrutiny from a governance and oversight perspective, not because such relationships are inherently improper, but because of the heightened risk they pose to objectivity, accountability, and the effective functioning of internal controls. Where reporting lines, decision-making authority, or access to sensitive information intersect with personal relationship, there is an increased risk of perceived or actual conflict of interest, preferential treatment, and weakened oversight in an institution such as SAPS, which exercises extensive coercive powers and manages substantial public resources. The maintenance of transparent, impartial, and robust governance structures is essential to public confidence and institutional integrity. It is for these reasons that the relationship reflected in Access SS38 warrant careful examination within the scope of the Commission's mandate. In amplification of the above, it is noteworthy that the conduct and role of the other Deputy National Commissioners have not been examined by this Commission, despite the Commission's mandate to scrutinize senior leadership within the South African Police Service and the effectiveness of oversight mechanism at that level. In particular, the Deputy National Commissioner responsible for Police in General Musikidi, who was implicated in an incident at a macro store, in which it was alleged that she attempted to purchase household appliances through informal means and was subsequently deceived by two individuals who allegedly provided her with empty boxes after she had paid them an amount of 10,000. Following this incident, General Musikidi opened a criminal case of theft against the two individuals, alleging that her belongings had been stolen while they were assisting her to load groceries into the vehicle. The two individuals were arrested, after which General Musikidi later withdrew the charges of theft against these two individuals. The matter was thereafter referred to IPIT, which commenced an inquiry into General Musikidi's conduct arising from the incident, notwithstanding the referral to IPIT and the existence of an ongoing investigation. An internal report prepared on the instruction of the National Commissioner subsequently cleared General Musikidi of any wrongdoing. What is of concern from a governance and oversight perspective is the apparent disparity in the manner in which this matter was addressed, when contrasted with the scrutiny applied to other senior SAPS officials, despite the seriousness of the allegations and the fact that the matter had been referred to IPID for independent investigation, an internal report commissioned at the instance of the National Commissioner purported to exonerate General Musigidi. This raises legitimate questions as to the consistency, independence, and robustness of internal accountability mechanism within the SAPS, and whether similar standards of scrutiny are applied uniformly across senior leadership. In or about April 2024, the Public Service Commission issued a report in terms of Section 194 of the Constitution concerning allegations of appointment irregularities at the SAPS. In that report, the Public Service Commission concluded that the promotion of General Sibiya to the position of head executive support and internal relations was irregular. A copy of the PSC report is attached here to marked as SS39. Subsequent engagement took place between, I'm reading throughout. Subsequent engagements took place between SAPS and the PSC regarding this finding. This engagement culminated in the preparations of an information note by Lieutenant General Dineo Nkua, the Divisional Commissioner of Human Resource Management, in which SAPS records its disagreement with the PSC's conclusion. In the information note, SAPS maintains that the appointment of General Sibiya was effected in compliance with the applicable legislative framework and with the requisite authorization of the Minister of Police. A copy of the information note as well as the related correspondence is attached here to marked Annexa SS40. The apparent disjuncture between the findings of the Public Service Commission and the position adopted by SAPS management reflects a broader institutional weakness in internal governance control, particularly in relation to senior appointments, compliance with prescripts, and a clear delineation of authority. Effective governance within SAPS requires that oversight finding be meaningfully engaged with remedial steps be taken where irregularities are identified, and that executive authority be exercised in a manner that is demonstrably consistent with the constitutional and legislative obligations. A further point of concern for me is that General Senthumule has publicly denied having an association with Madlanga. This denial is, however, difficult to reconcile. With information that has come to my attention in particular, it appears that Madlanga was invited on the instruction of General Senthumule to attend the SAPS Service Excellence Award, and that the donation was accepted from his company Medicare 24 in connection with that event. I am in possession of a WhatsApp communication which indicate that General Senthumule instructed Major General Manamela to extend an invitation to Madlanga to attend the Service Excellence Award. In or about 2024, it is further alleged that 10 refrigerators were accepted by General Senthumule as a donation from Medi 24. I am also informed that Madlanga and his wife were invited to General Senthumule's private residence prior to a relocation, to a trip to Cape Town, not relocation. It's a typo.
Sorry, General. The refrigerator donation was to the SAPS or to her personally?
It's to the SAPS during the Excellence Awards. Those are the fridges that will be given to the best performer on this or that.
Thank you.
In addition, it has been alleged that General Senthumule personally benefited from Madlanga in circumstances that were not disclosed. These allegations include that certain elective medical procedures were performed by medical practitioners, the cost of which were paid for by Mr. Madlanga. I am advised that these benefits were not declared through any formal disclosure. I raise these matters because...
Sorry, General, just before you move on, when you say it has been alleged, who alleges this?
Firstly, I think we had a witness here that spoke about certain senior managers who receive BBL. And then in my case, what I said, where I said that because I work with her every day, I had to give her off. Sometimes because she could not sit, even in the car, even in the office, because she could not work. She had to always, at all times, be standing the whole day because she was not supposed to sit. And I even advised her to work from home. So as to the question as to who alleges, sometimes I shouldn't at this point in time maybe disclose who gave me the information, but I am able to give to the commission if I have to give. I'm forced to give it to the commission because sometimes people's lives could be in danger as well.
Well, I think you should provide to us where you get information from. Otherwise, it just is this allegation that's written in the passive tense. It has been alleged. So I would ask that you do give us that information. You can give it to us during the adjournment, if you wish.
Yes, may I come back maybe the next morning with that response, Chair, so that I consult extensively in that regard.
Continue.
I raise these matters because if established, they would raise serious concerns relating to conflict of interest, disclosure obligations, and the integrity of governance and oversight mechanism within the SAPS. I accordingly place these matters before the Commission for consideration insofar as they may be relevant to its mandate to examine ethical governance, accountability, and the effectiveness of internal safeguards within the senior leadership of the SAPS. The National Commissioner's leadership style. The National Commissioner's approach to conflict resolution has on a number of occasions reflected inconsistency and apparent partiality, particularly in matters involving General Khumalo and myself. Although the National Commissioner acknowledged my concerns regarding being undermined and bypassed by General Khumalo, his interventions were largely limited and reactive rather than proactive or corrective. In one instance, I was advised that certain issues should not be raised publicly or in the presence of junior officials. While this guidance is understandable from the perspective of maintaining hierarchy and discipline, its practical effect was that the conduct complained of was not addressed, thereby allowing the situation to persist without consequences. The National Commissioner's approach in these circumstances appeared to have the preservation of long-standing personal relationship over the consistent enforcement of accountability, proper governance, and command discipline. During a visit to Cape Town, the National Commissioner convened a private meeting with the Provincial Commissioner of Crime Intelligence from the Free State. It was the Provincial Commissioner, and then it was the Provincial Commissioner of Free State, and then the Provincial Head of Crime Intelligence, and several senior crime intelligence officials. Despite my position as the Deputy National Commissioner responsible for crime intelligence, and notwithstanding that operational oversight of these matters fell squarely within my mandate, I was neither invited nor informed of this meeting. The meeting proceeded for approximately an hour in my absence. This exclusion had the effect of undermining my authority and bypassing established oversight and command structures. It further illustrates a pattern in which informal and decision-making were centralized, while institutionally mandated oversight roles were marginalized to the detriment of transparent, accountable, and effective governance within South African Police Service.
You said informal, I think it's information. 3 lines from the top, 3 lines from the bottom.
Which information and decision-making were centralized, while institutionally mandated oversight roles were marginalized to the detriment of transparent, accountable, and effective governance within South African Police Service. A further concerning example of inappropriate conduct relates to the National Commissioner's engagement with my former wife, Ms. Christine Bonang Ngwenya. Without my knowledge or consent, the National Commissioner disclosed to her allegation that I was lobbying for his position and investigating the former Minister of Police, Begitele. He further instructed her not to disclose this information to me. This conduct circumvented established... This conduct circumvented established professional and institutional channels and constituted a clear breach of appropriate boundaries by drawing a personal relationship into an internal professional dispute. It had the effect of undermining my standing within the service, compromising trust, and exacerbating tensions in circumstances that ought properly to have been addressed through formal and accountable mechanism. The National Commissioner's conduct reflects a pattern of unequal application of accountability standard. While I face suspension and intense scrutiny, General Mkhwanazi remained in his office despite serious criminal allegations. He consistently protected General Khumalo despite documented complaints and misconduct, allowing him to continue influencing crime intelligence operations without consequences. This disparity in treatment reinforces concerns regarding selective enforcement, inconsistent consequences management, and the erosion of principled leadership within the service. Overall, the leadership approach of the National Commissioner may be characterized as predominantly reactive rather than proactive, marked by partiality and the protection of personal alliances, the centralization of decision-making authority, inconsistent communication, and a tolerance for the persistence of misinformation and reputational harm. In conclusion, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the Commission for affording me the opportunity to place evidence before it on matters of significant public importance that affect the country, as well as issues that have had a profound impact on my professional career. I have approached this process in the spirit of transparency and cooperation, mindful of the Commission's mandate to examine systemic weaknesses, accountability failures, and the effectiveness of oversight within the criminal justice system. This process is grounded in the Constitution of South Africa, which requires that all exercises of public power be lawful, accountable, and transparent, and that institutions entrusted with policing and criminal justice operate without fear, favor, or prejudice. It is my hope that the Commission's findings will assist the President in safeguarding against the use of public funds and state resources for purposes unrelated to the constitutional mandate of the criminal justice system, including the pursuit of personal vendettas, factional interest, or succession battles, but are instead deployed solely in furtherance of the constitutional imperatives of accountability, impartiality, and the public interest. The misuse of state institutions and resources for such purposes undermines the rule of law, erodes public confidence in law enforcement agencies, and diverts scarce resources away from their constitutional mandate to prevent, combat, and investigate crime. Furthermore, it is incumbent upon leadership, not only within the criminal justice system, but across the public service more broadly, to remain constantly mindful of the people they are entrusted to serve. Public office demands that the interests of the public be placed above personal ambition, factional consideration, or internal contest for power, and that state resources are never deployed to advance such interests. Section 195 of the Constitution requires accountability, ethical conduct, and fidelity to the public interest in the exercise of all public power, I accordingly trust that the Commission's findings and recommendations will assist in strengthening oversight, restoring institutional integrity, and ensuring that the criminal justice system serves the people of South Africa rather than personal or factional agendas. The Bill of Rights is a foundational pillar of South Africa's constitutional democracy. It affirms the rights of all persons and entrenches the value of human dignity, equality, and freedom. Where law enforcement agencies are captured, manipulated, or utilized to shield certain individuals from accountability or to target others for improper or ulterior purposes. The constitutional rights of those unjustly accused are directly and seriously infringed. Such conduct is incompatible with the Constitution and cannot be countenanced, as it undermines the rule of law and the legitimacy of the criminal justice system itself. Finally, I trust that the evidence I have presented will assist the Commission in the fulfillment of its constitutional and statutory responsibilities, while also providing a fair and balanced context to matters that have had a profound and ongoing impact on my professional career and personal integrity. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, General. Now that we've completed this statement and your evidence from your perspective, there are several areas in respect of which we have questions. But let's begin at the top of your statement before we get to the topic of disbandment. You spent some amount of time taking the Commission through a history of complaints or investigations against you. There are about 6 of them that you've listed, going back to 2015. Is it correct that each of these complaints against you were brought at different times in different work environments?
Correct.
And if I recall correctly, the first is the dismissal by the Hawks in 2015. Is that right?
Correct.
Then the rendition matter. Then the alleged fraudulent travel claims, allegations of high treason, the public protector investigation, the whole investigation into the city of Johannesburg, your appointment, salary, procurement of equipment, and then finally your suspension.
Correct.
From the service last year.
Correct.
And I take it you don't suggest, therefore, that there is one person that is orchestrating these complaints or one group that's orchestrating these complaints against you. Is that correct, if I were to say that?
It's not correct.
So the reason you provided this is to say there is an orchestrated campaign?
Yes, and I gave a clear background in that regard, where it stems from, and as a continuation of what happened and the role players. So I substantiated where I come from. Okay,
but when you say it's orchestrated, who do you say is orchestrating it? Because you've agreed that they all happen at different points in time over the last 11 years, in different work environments, brought by different people.
Chairpersons, I don't think I need to go any far other than to refer the commissioners to the court papers themselves. Starting from the rendition, starting from Judge Matojane, all the judges that were involved and their comments about what happened, my involvement, whether I was involved or not, leading up to the CT where all the judges where my matters were presented ruled in my favor, and based on the fact that there's no evidence against me or I was not even involved.
Except that, I'm not saying that you are guilty of any, I'm not commenting on the merits of any of those complaints. I'm talking more about the purpose for which you've put it before this commission. You're saying because it's orchestrated. So that suggests that there's one person or one group of people that's doing this, and I'm asking you, and you're saying, yes, that's true.
Yes.
So who's the person?
I underlined political interference in my judgments. And then now I indicated commissioners and said, it is this political party, the MK party, that started the marches, that opened criminal cases, that do it around my buildings. Now, and then I also even went to an extent of mentioning that the same minister who was the minister at the time I was expelled, I'm dealing with the same minister who is actually behind the political party that is actually dealing with my situation.
So the answer to the question is, it's the MK party.
Well, it's one of them.
And who else?
One of them, remember there are many role players at different stages.
Okay, so there isn't one person or one grouping, there are several groupings.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to be clear on that. Then we hear from you on the issue of disbandment, and you have said disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. When did you first find out about the decision to disband?
When the letter was circulated in media, we all saw it.
When it was circulated in the media?
Yes.
So that was immediately?
I think it was on the
much.
same day, the 31st.
But you also said that you weren't surprised with that decision.
Yes.
And the reason you are not surprised is because, for one, you referred to the Murray report. And your evidence was that this was part of the discussion. This was foreshadowed in the Murray report.
No. I'm not basing my response based on the Murray report. There was a build-up of a series of meetings that happened, including the Murray report was part of the whole thing.
Yes, so I'm not saying it's the only thing. I'm saying it was one of the events.
I'll feel comfortable when we talk about the fact that there was a build-up. There's been several meetings and consultations, so it never could come as a surprise because it wasn't just a shock.
Yes. But I want to probe further. We've heard you say that, but I want to understand from you that one of the reasons you say it wasn't a surprise is because it was foreshadowed in the Murray report. And when you first referred to the Murray report yesterday, I asked you to take us to the part of the Murray report where it speaks about disbandment. And then we didn't dwell on it because we said we would return. And I'm returning to it now. So if we could just go to the Murray report.
What file is that, Ms. Hassan? File?
June 2025.
7-6.
File 2A, I think Commissioner
Page
Khumalo is helping us.
776.
776. Let me know when you're there, General.
Yes, I spent time last night I marked it, and I marked the relevant sections that I know that maybe the evidence leader is referring to. So I just want to get to that point. Just bear with me. No, I want the one I clearly marked it. I'm almost there, Chair. All right.
All right, so you're going to take us to where it talks about disbandment.
Chair, I need assistance. I've got it where I marked it from, and then this where I marked it from the file that I was using at the ad hoc committee. But it's the same document that we have, the one that says evaluation of the implementation.
I see general.
No, this is not, here's the file.
Oh,
Here's my file.
So, General, the document is your concern about the page references?
And the file, because I can read from here what I have to respond to the question.
May I make a suggestion, General? I see at the foot of each page, there is page 1 of 33, for example, page 12 of 33, and so on, at the foot of the page. So if you refer to that at the foot of the page, then we can find the relevant pages.
Is the pages your concern?
Page 11
Yes, okay.
of 33. I want to go to page 10. What is it?
Page 10 of 33.
Yeah, page 10 of 33. We're still talking about the Murray report.
Yes.
I want to go specifically to paragraph 6.4.5.
And that, for purposes of the record, that's paginated page 785 of the annexures.
Thank you, Chair. Yes.
This is the one they're looking for. Yes, and then you go to the relevant page 10. Page 10. I'm going to read few select. I'm not going to go on it, but I'm going to select the relevant sections that I think will assist the Commission.
Yeah, so my question is if you could just take us to where in the Murray report it
Where
talks about disbandment of task teams and in particular the PKTT.
I wanna go to paragraph 6.4.4. Now we are at file. Okay, Madlanga Sibiya, Madlanga Commission, Annexa. It's page 785.
Yes.
I am reading here paragraph 6.4 that says, it is evident that the historical specialized capacities are better implemented than the newly established unit. The unit that is the best capacitated according to the personnel strength, FCS 78%. Now, I want to skip that and say, followed by taxi violence capacity within the murder and robbery environment. But where I am interested is the worst crime capacity 25%. That is normally better off at 25%. Murder and robbery units are at 18%, and organized crime 28%. Now, when you go to 6.4.5, the reason for the establishment of these units was to ensure that provincial directed investigations could be conducted with the alternative function to also replace the numerous task teams that were functioning at provincial level. Now, when you talk about the numerous task teams that are functioning at provincial task teams, it includes the political killing task team. Now, next paragraph, it says, it is necessary to look at the status of this provincial investigation unit capacities and make a decision based on implementation of possibly to close down the capacities at provincial level. We're talking the task teams are the capacities at provincial level.
Pause there. You're saying, or possibly to close down the capacities at provincial level. You interpret that to mean task teams.
Yes, because we are building units now, but we have got this other extra capacities like your task teams that are mushrooming all over, and then they take away a lot of manpower and capacity to make sure that the provinces are strong.
So the plan is to establish these units. They're called PIUs,
re-establish
Provincial
the
Investigation Units.
And make them strong.
With a view to then taking over, incorporating the work of the task teams into the PIUs.
Yes.
Okay?
Now, let me finish my point so that I rest it. So now, there's a paragraph that says, this would also alleviate the need to establish a capacity without a need in the current circumstances where there are continuous budget cuts, especially for compensation. Closure of the provincial investigation unit would then relieve some pressure on an additional unit that needs to capacitate and resources. Now, in other words, if you were to take the money that you allocate into the task teams, you build capacity, you build your murder and robbery unit to be as prolific as what you say you have as a task team. Or take the same task team, put them in the same unit. Let this unit be a unit that function, but on their normal salary. Now you've got people, you've got units, they are not capacitated. You've got another unit that you put there. This unit that you put there, they claim 35,000 rand, 45,000 rand, overtime, extra money. And then yet you have established the murder and robbery unit.
Okay.
Only in one province.
So the point again is to establish units in order to increase the capacity of these units, and that would incorporate the work of task teams.
Yes.
Right. All task teams.
And throughout the country.
And throughout the country.
Yes.
Okay. And that was the plan. That's what this report was proposing.
Can I read the last?
You can first answer and then you can read. Do you agree that that was the plan that was being proposed in this report?
In the report, yes.
Okay, thanks. You can continue.
And then when you look at paragraph 6.4.51, it says, these task teams should be placed within the murder and robbery unit to capacitate and direct the focus on a permanent structure with the necessary command and control.
Sorry, sorry, General, I've lost you. Where are you reading from?
6.4.5.1, page 11.
Yes.
Now, it talks about the number of task teams that you can see.
I didn't see what you just read.
Bullet number 2, from line number 2.
That talks about multiple trio task teams. Why don't you start at the front, at the beginning of 6.4.5.1?
Okay. Why don't I start with?
The beginning. So the 6.4.5.1, what does that read, the first
The task
line?
teams that are not monitored run rampant for years without determining or accounting for the gap left where the members were taken from, mostly at station level. Task teams found operating in provinces are as follows.
Okay,
Now,
wait, let's just take it slowly. The first sentence is task teams that are not monitored.
Yes.
run rampant for years
Yes,
without determining or accounting for gap left, etc., etc.
yes.
Okay? So what this document is talking about is those that are not monitored. The political killings task team was monitored.
No, it was not.
Why do you say that?
Because if that was the case, we wouldn't be sitting with so many cases that are not attended since 2018, 2019, 2020.
No, that's a separate issue about the status of investigations in the dockets, and we will come to that later on. But we've had evidence, and I'm sure you've seen it, which is the number of meetings that take place, oversight meetings of the political killings task team, including the interministerial committee meetings.
Commissioners, I'm sitting with a budget of over 500 million. And when you look at the workload and the work done, you cannot compare the two, you cannot account for the amount of money. And then, remember, let's look for an example. Cases that, let me answer.
No, because you're not answering the question. You're talking about something else. I just want to talk about the monitoring of the political killings task team. There were oversight bodies that, steering committees, and then the interministerial committee that met, that had oversight of the political killings task team. Do you agree with that?
I don't.
Why don't you agree with that? There are minutes of meetings.
We are past the ministerial committees now. We are now with the running of the task team. And the running of the task team, I'm saying, if I'm sitting with a situation where every now and then we're asking for 35 million, 20 million, but when you look at the cases that were started in 2018, 2019 are now being finalized now, some of them, and they're still not finalized since 2018, 2019.
No, you're not actually. We will deal with the question of the status of investigations of those dockets that are under the PKTT. We'll get there. I'm merely talking at this stage about monitoring. And in fact, what's included in that monitoring is the decisions that are made and that are signed off at senior level within the service.
I don't agree.
I haven't even finished. Are you saying you don't agree? You don't know what my question is?
I'm apologizing, Judge. I really apologize. It won't happen again.
There are budget approvals for the PKTT that take place at least every year. Sometimes it's more than once a year, depending on the period for which the budget is applied. And in those budget approvals, there's an assessment of the PKTT. It's included in the information note. So why would the budget be extended for the PKTT if the assessment was that it was not doing its job?
I really want to answer you, Chair. My problem is that you want one specific answer.
I definitely do.
And that I don't agree with. I'm saying, if you say to me the task teams was monitored, and yet I have dockets that, according to the coordinator, says they were put in a fridge. Dockets, a number of dockets were sitting somewhere in a corner unattended. To me, they were not monitored.
Perhaps, General, let's understand your definition or meaning of monitoring, because we have had evidence, including documentary evidence, as Ms. Hassim says, of meetings, of the structure, of meetings of the IMC, that there were steering committees, approvals of mandate, which include your approving in April 2024, or thereabouts, but in 2024. So we've had that kind of evidence that suggests that there was monitoring of this task team, right? That's the evidence before us. You say there was no monitoring. Maybe you have a different idea when you say monitoring, and maybe it may be helpful to us if you explain what do you mean by monitoring?
Chair, if you look at all these task teams, 6.4, 5.1, all of them, as you see them, all of them are the same task team. They perform the same function, different responsibilities or challenges. Now, what I mean when I say, there's a criticism here when they say task teams that run rampant for a long period unmonitored.
Sorry, I'm very, very sorry. I apologize for interrupting you mid-sentence. The question by my colleague, Commissioner Baloyi, is a simple one. At the level of principle, aside of looking at particular or specific units or task teams, at the level of principle, what do you consider to be monitoring?
Is what I consider.
So what we expect you to say is a unit or a task team would be properly monitored if A, B, C, D, E happen. Okay. It would not be properly monitored if X, Y, Z happen. Just a description at the level of principle.
Thank you, Chair. As far as I'm concerned, if I say a task team is properly monitored, is when it carries out its mandate, number one, as they were established for whatever they were doing, and the effectiveness on carrying out their mandate, focusing on what their mandate is, specifically political killings, over and above, attending to all cases reported, not only selectively and others ignored. And when you look at all those things, there are many reasons that I may mention that says when we say there's proper monitoring, there's inspections being conducted, regular inspections conducted, monitoring of their work, and also proper accountability. That is when I say it is monitored. Now, where there is no proper accountability and no regular, I don't know about regular inspections because I've never inspected their docket, but what I can say, if I'm sitting with such a high number of dockets that were not being attended to, I can't say they were properly monitored. So that is based on that. My reason is not being to be argumentative, but it depends on the level of experience and what I know to say. When we say a task team is being monitored, this is what needs to happen. And all those things were not happening all at the same time.
Ms. Hasim, may I, at the risk of sounding like I'm directing your questioning in a particular direction, may I ask perhaps that we caution ourselves, just on this aspect, just on this one aspect, we caution ourselves not to be sidetracked in this sense. For example, your question, the key issue you want the General to address now is, General, show us where it says the PKTT is to be disbanded. And the General first took us to the second paragraph of 6.4.5. And when he was done with that, you asked him a question, which the upshot of which was this. The General agreed that this was a plan that was being proposed. So I don't see that to say PKTT must be disbanded. So I think let the next step be, take us to where we are told that the PKTT is being disbanded. If you can come back to the monitoring, and he must take us to where this document says the PKTT is being disbanded. The first one, it says plan, period.
Yes.
I'm sorry if I sound like I'm directing you.
Chair, that's fine. The second point he was talking about is task teams that are not monitored.
Yes,
and that's how this opened up the
Yeah,
question of,
the
well, is the
question is-
PKTT one of those or not?
Yeah.
But I'm going to return to it if the chair doesn't mind. However,
Yes.
let's go to the next question. If this isn't the place
Yes,
that
yes.
says that the task teams should be disbanded, it talks about task teams that are not being monitored, etc. And then it says task teams found operating in provinces are as follows, and it lists the task teams.
Or
Right.
General, sorry, Mr. Hasim again. General, you took us here, page 6.4.5.1. Show us where in 6.4.5.1 this document says PKTT to be disbanded. Show us that, please.
Chair, when you go to the second line, that says, these task teams should be placed within the murder and robbery unit to capacitate and direct.
Where are you
now?
reading from?
Where are you reading?
Line number 2 of bullet number 2. Multiple trio task teams functioning in various provinces. These task teams follow the mandate of the murder and robbery unit. These task teams should be placed within the murder and robbery unit. Now, when you talk about multiple trio task teams, it also includes the same mandate.
What mandate?
Like your murders. That's why it must go to murder and robbery, your robbery, your murders.
Okay, so I disagree with you, because what you just read refers to the second bullet, which is multiple trio task teams functioning in various provinces. If you look at 6 bullets from the bottom, that's where it deals with the political murders team, which the minister has said is essentially the political killings task team. Do you agree with that?
Before I respond, Chair, I want to ask a question. When a study is being conducted, or this study was conducted, it was not conducted in the name of the PKTT alone. It was conducted when they talk about the task teams. It includes the PKTT. Now,
Yes.
if I'm questioned and expected to say, but show me where specifically the PKTT is mentioned that it must be disbanded. When they talk about all the task teams, including when you look at this bullet that says political murder team, which
Yes.
is the PKTT.
Yes.
Yes. Now, the study was to say we need to capacitate these units that we are re-establishing, like the murder and robbery unit, so that we take all these teams to the unit to build capacity.
General, I understand the point being made by Ms. Hasim to be this. The several bullets that you see under 6.4.5.1 itemize different categories of task teams. That's Ms. Hasim's point. And she says, bullet number 2 that you just referred to is not the same category as as the political murders team bullet. That's a different category. So it's not the same category that you referred to, which is in bullet 2. That's Ms. Hasim's point. So whatever is said in brackets about the task team in bullet 2 is not or does not relate to political murders team, which is a different category.
And
That's the point.
That's quite right, Chair. Thank you for that. And to put it clearly, what you've read in brackets, if it was to apply to all of the task teams, it would have preceded the bullet points, the list of bullet points, right? It would have been an overall heading. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay.
And to show that these are different categories, what precedes the bullet says, task teams found operating in provinces are as follows, and then the bullets. So those are different categories. So the political matters team is not the same as the team referred to in bullet 2. That's a simple point. You may pose your question again, Ms. Hasim.
Do you agree with that?
Chair, I don't. I don't.
You don't agree that these are different categories?
No, this I agree that these are different task teams.
Categories.
Okay.
And do you agree that the category itemized in bullet 2 is not the same as the category itemized as political matters team? Obviously, you must agree. You've already just said you agree.
You have
this.
agreed.
You've just agreed that these are different categories. So bullet 2 and the political matters team are different bullets. So you must agree. It's only logical, not so?
I agree, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So where else then in the document does it talk about the disbandment of the political killings team?
Maybe before you do that, let me just make sure I understand what the General is saying. General, that bullet 2, multi-trio task teams functioning in various provinces, is that the paragraph you rely on to say that there was a decision, management decision to disband the PKTT? Is that what you're doing?
No, Chair. What I'm relying on is the fact that when there's a study that is being conducted that says we've got numerous task teams that are operating in different provinces, and these task teams, they take away the manpower from the units. So let us disband the task team and then let the members be in the unit and strengthen the units. That was the whole idea. So this whole idea starting from re-establishment of the task teams, because when you read the first one that talks about the re-establishment, it also places, it talks about those units like your murder and robbery units, tax theft and everything, and then from there it will also say, give the mandate of each and every one of them, of which it places the political killing task team under the murder and robbery unit.
Allow me to interrupt you. You took us to that paragraph, and I just wanted to understand what meaning, whether you're saying that is the paragraph in this whole document that authorizes, or that where it is decided or recorded that the PKTT was to be dissolved. I think your answer, I want to say your answer is no. From your explanation, it's not the paragraph you're relying on. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then can you take us, is there anywhere else other than the references you gave us thus far in this report where it says that the PKTT should be disestablished?
Yes. In my case, commissioners, if there's a decision that says we have provincial capacities that exist in provinces that must be closed down to capacitate the units. As far as I'm concerned, it talks about the people that are at the task teams so that the units can be strong. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to clarify something, like...
Before you clarify, just so that we don't get lost in detail, where is that decision that you've just described now?
Let's go to paragraph 6.4.5 behind. That says, and I'm reading where it says, the reason for the establishment of these units was to...
Where are you reading, General?
6.4.5, are you reading 4 lines from the top?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are not starting from the beginning of a paragraph that you are referring us to, General, you should always tell us the line, please. It makes it easier for us to find where you are reading from. So we do see it. Please read.
But before you read, because we've been here already,
Yeah.
you've read this, and we establish that this is the intended plan, right? That was what this report envisaged taking place. This was the plan. It doesn't say that the PKTT should be disbanded.
You see, what I think, firstly, Chair, I think we need to agree that when we talk about the PKTT, let's remove the word PKTT. Let's talk the word task team. Because the moment you bracket me into PKTT, and I'm talking about the task teams, I'm applying the whole bigger picture, and then the evidence leader brackets me and say, no, tell me where it says the PKTT.
No.
Yes, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Let
you
me
see
explain.
why that is happening, General, is the topic that Ms. Hassim took you to is the disbandment of the PKTT. And she introduced her questioning by asking you where you get, or rather, she said, you say you were not surprised when the PKTT was disbanded. And then she next took you to why that was so. You then said overnight you studied SS47 thoroughly and that you have notes on it. And then Ms. Hassim said, show us where it says, that is SS47, where it says the PKTT is to be disbanded. You took us to 645, you read the first paragraph, then you took us to the second paragraph of 6.4.5. After you had read it, she then asked you, but is it not so that what you have just read was nothing but a plan that was, open quote, being proposed, close quote, and you agreed? So it is on that basis that Ms. Hassim says now, but how can you again take us to 6.4.5 when all that it does is to propose a plan? That's where we are. But now you want to explain, I don't know whether you want to explain around 6.4.5 still.
Chair, I think where it all started is when how I responded was to say there has been a build-up and a series of meetings leading to that. This is how it all started before we got to now the report that was now, where she focused now on the report. But I said how I relied on the fact that I was not surprised because there has been several meetings and consultations before. This is one of the things that made me comfortable to say in any event, there was a study that was conducted, and this study talks about the re-establishment of the specialized unit. Among others is the murder and robbery unit, whose mandate will be to look into the political killings and taxi killings, police killings, all those killings.
Yes, General. We must start somewhere. Yes, you referred to several meetings and documents and so on. We must start somewhere. So we have started with SS47. All that we want, and that was indeed Commissioner Baloyi's question, is for you to show us a decision that says, PKTT, you are now being disestablished or being disbanded. Show us that. You've taken us to 6.4.5. All that we are able to glean from that is a plan that was being proposed. You have taken us to 6.4.5.1. There as well, we see nothing, unless you go back to it and show us, we see nothing that says, PKTT, you are being disbanded. We don't see that. Show us, take us, you said you went through this document overnight and that you did so thoroughly. Show us a decision that says PKTT, you are being disbanded.
All I can say, Chair, is that in all these documents, re-establishment and this one of evaluations of the implementation of...
We'll go to, you'll take us to others. You'll take, let's not be disorganized. You'll take us to others, please, General, please. Let's deal with SS47. In SS47, show us where there is a decision that says the PKTT is being disbanded. You'll take us, we will give you the opportunity. You will take us to the next one. We will not gag you in this regard.
Chair, I'm trying to respond now to this question in the overall, because these two documents that I'm sitting with, there is no where it is written PKTT must be disbanded. All of it. Because the document was not only meant for the PKTT, it was meant for all the task teams, which included the PKTT.
Okay.
All right, then.
Can you take us to where in this document it says that task teams should be disbanded?
The reason for the establishment of these units was to ensure that provincial directed investigations.
Sorry, where are you reading from?
6.4.5, line number 1, 2, 3, 4. Then
Are you reading the same thing again?
could be conducted with the alternative function to also replace the numerous task team that were functioning at provincial level, to replace the numerous task teams that are functioning at provincial level.
Right, and we've already gone through this. And
So, Ms. Hassan, let me try and do something that I'm hoping will be helpful, will get us past this point. General, your 645, that paragraph that you referred to, it starts off, it speaks about provincial investigation units, and it says, the reason for the establishment of these units, which is the part you're reading, was to ensure that provincial directed investigations could be conducted with the alternative function to also replace the task teams that were functioning at the provincial level. Now, if you turn to page 796 of the same document.
I'm getting there.
796 of the same document?
Yes. And 8.10 in particular.
And 11, both 8, 10, and 11. I was going to go to 11. Yeah, at 796. Let's start at 8.11. It reads, the provincial investigating units in the provinces that have been established be closed as discussed in paragraph 6.4.5, 6.4.6, and 7.5. So, 8.11, it suggests, it recommends, its recommendations. It recommends the closure of PIUs that have been established. And then 8.10 says, current task teams be subjected to an impact analysis by organizational development and strategic management in the province to ensure the feasibility of the existing teams. So 8.10 puts it beyond doubt that this document does not recommend the closing of task teams at all. It says they must be subject to an impact analysis. And then 8.11 says the PIUs that are referred to in the paragraph that you are referring to, 6.4.5, that have been established must be shut down. So 6.4.5 is not where you go when you're looking for a decision, whether there was a decision to close task teams in general or the PKTT. It's not in 6.4.5. And in fact, 8.10 contradicts what you're saying.
8.13, can I read it, Chair? it says the provincial investigation unit be removed from the structure of the detective service as a prioritization as well as cost-saving measures as referred to in paragraph 6.4.5, 6.4.6, and 7.5. However,
That says nothing. No, before you go to however, can we agree that the text that I have read, that you have read, that the chair and Ms. Hassam have referred to, all of that text, nowhere does it speak about the closure of task teams in general, and nowhere does it mention the closure of the PKTT in particular? Can we at least agree on the text that we have read?
I agree, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. And I take it you don't wish to take us to any other part of this report? Can we move off this report then?
Just one last sentence that I want to make, Chair, in relation to this thing. When I'm sitting with a document as approved by the National Commissioner, I understand that the National Commissioner signed it on the 5th of the 6th month. That says implementation to be implemented by the Deputy National Commissioner, Crime Detection and Divisional Commissioner. Implementation of specialized units. Specialized unit meaning including, among others, the murder and robbery unit, which is to take care of the political killing task team. As far as I'm concerned, it was actually dealing with the same issue. But if the commissioners are of the view that for as long as there's no weight that says disband the PKTT, then all this is irrelevant, I will then accept. There's not much I can say about it.
Or any task team? The document doesn't recommend disbanding any task team.
But this document clearly deals with the rampant task teams that are existing, and it says they take capacity from they disempower the units, they impoverish the units. And I'm trying to find a gap of explaining something, but I'm not, I don't, because I don't want to go to look like I'm just rampant.
There are 2 points here. The first is that it says that current task teams must be subject to an impact analysis. Right? Right? So, presumably, once an impact analysis is done, there will be an evidence-based decision of which task teams are to be disbanded, correct?
Yes.
And this document was only signed off in June 2025, right?
Yes.
And that was well after the decision was made.
Yes.
6 months.
Yes.
Later. Okay. So the second event that you said, why this is no...
Just before that, General, also, you remember yesterday, I asked you a question whether you accept that there's a difference between task teams and units, and you accepted that there is a difference.
Yes, yes, Chair.
What my colleague Commissioner Baloyi took you to, that is paragraphs 8.10 and 8.11, they don't deal with the same subject matter. 8.10 deals with task teams, and it doesn't say task teams are to be closed or disbanded. It says they are to be subjected to an impact analysis. And then 8.11 says provincial investigation units that have been established be closed. So units. So there's a conscious distinction by the drafters to refer to task teams and to units. And task teams under which the PKTT falls are to be subjected to an impact analysis. So there's simply no question of a recommendation for the disbandment of the PKTT or any other task team for that matter. So your problem seems to be that you use task team and unit interchangeably, which is wrong. Do you accept that?
Can I ask a Chair a question?
No, please respond to mine.
That I can't distinguish between a task team and a unit.
Maybe you can, but in the testimony you are giving now, you are simply using the two terms interchangeably. I'm not suggesting that you don't know which is which. 8.10 addresses task teams and those are to be subjected to an impact analysis. And 8.11 addresses provincial investigation units, in respect of which the recommendation is that they should be closed. So simple point is, nowhere do we see anything that recommends closure in respect of task teams, a category under which the PKTT falls.
Chairperson, let me accept and move on.
Please, thank you.
Thank you. Chair, it is 1 o'clock. Might be an opportune time.
Let's adjourn and resume at 2 p.m.
Thank you.